Hold on to your hats, folks. We're just about to get started here. Follow the breath. Oh my gosh, I got my accent on tonight. What's that about? Oops. 18 seconds, y'all. 16, 15. Here we go.
Cool.
Welcome back, Fun Fam. And if you're brand new to the channel, welcome in to follow the Bradley's Fun. This is not a daily dish because we're at night. This is two. Well, it's two from the Lou, joined by a third, so it's really three. But we have our special guest, of course. And right away, I want to welcome everybody in first, real quick here. There's a few people I see in the chat here. Holly Weirdland, wicked guest, welcome in. Jeremy Heath, one of our great wrenches, is here, and so is Tom F. Wrenching away, we appreciate that. Ruby Hoove gifted a membership to Mr. Fulton Mraz. Congratulations, Mr. Fulton, on receiving that gifted membership from Ruby Hoove. Ron, on Monday, January 20th, this is my big 26th birthday. Well, happy 26th birthday to you, Mr. Fulton Mraz, and hello, the Bud Files, Sue. Let's bring to the stage first and foremost my co-host here on Two from the Lou. Hopefully he's ready. Bring him in from the great city of St. Louis, Matt Ankney. Howdy, Matt.
Hello, Ron. It's been a while.
Let's get the dish. Let's get the dish off there. We're gonna go. There we go.
Let's get this part started. Oh, there you go.
Purple rain. Purple rain. Purple
haze.
Purple haze.
Purple haze.
There we go. We're doing a guitar thing tonight. How you doing,
we should
Matt?
call this picking and a grinning. That's kind of like a ukulele thing.
that is true. We'll be picking and grinning and smiling.
Kind of, picking and a grinning. It's a little folky. We have a guest tonight, though, who is a musician, a guitar designer, and a YouTuber, and a hockey blogger. What else does this guy? What does he do, Ron?
No, he's amazing, and I've been with him on other panels before, so I'm very excited to have him on the show here. And he's so far ahead of his time that you could almost say he's come back to us from the future.
Renaissance.
Doc, calm down, okay? Just calm down. It's me. It's Marty.
No, it can't be you. I sent you back to the future.
Hey, Doc, that's right, but I came back again. I came back from the future. Don't you remember last night? You fainted. I brought you home.
This can't be happening. You can't be here. It doesn't make sense for you to be here. I refuse to believe that you are here.
But he is here. Let's bring in Mr. the Stuttering Guitarist. How you doing, man?
Yeah, really good. Thank you so much, Ron and Matt. I think we've talked more in the past 48 hours than I've talked to my wife. It's just been constant stuff. So it's good to see you guys.
Yeah, how is 2025 going for you so far? 2 weeks in.
Well, first I want to say Holly Weird had popped in. Holly Weird has commented on every Strings and Pucks video. Thank you for that. 2025 being there he is. 2025 being the blogger for the Detroit Red Wings since 2019. It was so great up until last night. The Wings were on a 7-game winning streak, and then they lose to the Sharks. And when you're a blogger, and now I'm in my 6th year, I have friends that text, and I have people that send me messages through the blog and stuff, and there are always snipers waiting to say, "See, I told you they're awful again," or whatever. They get up. I knew as soon as the streak ended, they got a new coach. That I'd be hearing it, but I think the hardest lesson to learn about all of this, the YouTube, the blogs, and everything, is you don't know when someone's being facetious, and if you just treat it that way, you try not to imply a harsh tone when someone may be joking. That's about the only way to not go crazy doing it. So
speaking of that sentiment, so which shark was it that did the Red Wings in? Was it Mr. Wonderful or was it Mark Cuban?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was. Mark Cuban just got on the ice. He just started throwing money around. He said, "Here, you can have what's left of the Mavericks. Just let me score." No, it's Celebrini. We led in a shorthanded goal. Their goaltender looked awesome. Huso was terrible.
My wife loves watching Shark Tank, so that's my only real shark reference. I am, and I went to live. I only went to one St. Louis Blues game growing up, and I actually have pictures of it. I was 16 at the time. Very, very fun. That was when they were playing at the Checker Dome. You remember the Checker Dome, Matt?
Yes, the arena.
Matt's family's had season tickets since you got Jesus's tickets. Like when he was on with us.
Yeah, 1966.
You can have my seats. Well, it was post expansion. So
yeah, the St. Louis Blues used to play in an old dairy show arena where they would have farmers come in, bring their livestock from outside of St. Louis, Missouri, and they would have a dairy show. They built this thing called the St. Louis Arena, and so inside the dairy show, they had the dairy show, and then by the 40s, they were playing hockey in it. They had a minor league. They had the Chicago Blackhawks. Now we're really boring people. The Chicago Blackhawks minor league hockey team was in St. Louis for several decades, and then there was an expansion team in the NHL in the 60s, and the Blues started playing in St. Louis.
So how long was the Checker Dome around?
The Checker Dome, well, it was up until 1999 that building lasted.
Yeah,
but they only called it the Checker Dome because Ralston Purina, which logo is a red and white checker board, they owned the Blues, or that company owned the St. Louis Blues in the early 80s, whenever that was.
Did it still smell like animals for any of that time?
The circus used to be inside. Sometimes the circus would be at Busch Stadium, the old Busch Stadium, which they tore down, and sometimes the circus would be inside the St. Louis Arena. It was the arena, then it was the Chucker Dome for a while, and then they called it the arena again.
Yeah.
They would also have Bigfoot tractor pulls and car crusher trucks.
I remember all that stuff. I remember those advertisements. Race International this weekend. That's on Checker Dome.
Sunday.
And I went, this is who, Sunday. I went to see Herbie Hancock there. Along with there was Herbie Hancock. I went to see some big, massive concert where there's a whole bunch of different people. I saw Janet Jackson perform there. I saw Michael Jackson perform there. Just so many memories. And then, of course, the thing to do there was go out and go right next door to Emo's Pizza and get pizza right afterwards. And it was just packed. But it was so worth it. And
there's a bowling alley next to you.
Good. All right.
Bowling alley, Arena Bowl. There's a bowling alley right next to the arena in the parking lot that later they knocked down.
Now, guitarist, are you in Detroit?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm literally about 45 minutes from the city.
Okay.
Where I worked before I went on disability in 2016, I was at 8 Mile, and I was on the side that was Southfield, and Detroit was on the southern side of the street. And if you don't think city boundaries make a difference, the hardcore pawn show on A&E was filmed at a pawn shop across the street. And sometimes some of us would go over there and there'd be hundreds of people waiting. And as soon as the cameras turned on, people would act like they were crazy just to try to get on screen. So it was, I got to see a lot of deep in Detroit stuff. That was my sales territory. And I've been to Detroit, the kind they won't give you on the tour.
Yeah, I always joke because I've only been to Detroit a few times. I have relatives that live in that area. My dad grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. And so as his family grew up and kind of dispersed, some of them ended up in the Detroit area because it's not that far away. Well, one time I ate dinner. This is a long time ago at the Renaissance Center. And so I always tell people they are, it was a nice restaurant at the top of the Renaissance Center. I don't know if it was it revolving? It might've been.
I think so. My wife actually, she went to a rival school. I didn't even know that at the time, but the prom kids would go to that restaurant. Like for a senior prom, they put together a group of, as many kids as they could squeeze in a limo and go there. It was a big deal to go there.
Well, I went there. I always joke because I always say I've never been to Canada, but I've seen Canada. Mm-hmm. I've seen Canada from one of the only places that you can look south from the United States into Canada, because from the top of the Renaissance Center, you're looking south into Windsor, Canada. It's just the way the geography works out there. The little piece curves over and you're looking south into Canada instead of north.
It's so tight. I accidentally almost got into Canada during one of my sales trips. I made a wrong turn and all of a sudden I'm on the bridge or getting ready to get on the bridge and people are approaching the car saying, okay, well, you need to pull over there. I was like, no, I need to go back there. And that doesn't make you look more suspicious at all. Like, no, I'm not supposed to be here. But,
and for those watching, no, I do not think Canada is going to become part of America anytime soon. So, all that, or Greenland. Maybe.
Films, you should see RoboCop and The Crow.
Oh yeah, the original RoboCop.
Yes, that was kind of grim. It was. It gave me nightmares as a kid.
Yeah, I actually have. It's not right back here, but somewhere in this room, I have the RoboCop movie to comic book.
Seriously.
Yeah, and the original. It's one of those larger print. Remember, like there was like the regular comics were 12-inch, and then this were like 14 or 16 inches. It's a big print comic book, and it's that movie, man. I loved that movie when I was a kid. I think I watched it over and over and over on VHS.
I had it on NES on my Nintendo, and you had the laser blasters at the nuclear facility, and there's robots. I didn't realize how violent it was until I looked back. I was like, well,
yeah,
should I have been playing and watching that? Maybe not.
It's really like for those of us that grew up in the 80s before there was a PG-13, you might remember like there were a lot of movies that might have been considered R that they maybe took one little thing out, but then it dropped all the way down to PG because there was no PG-13. I'm not sure if RoboCop was in that category, if it was R, and we just saw it. But our parents didn't care. Like they really didn't care back then. Like we just go to the movies. I mean, this was the day and age when I got sent out to buy my friends cigarettes when I was like 11 and 12. I go to the 7-Eleven and be like, "These are for my mom. Do you have a note?" "No, I don't have a note." "Well, here they are anyway."
They had vending machines anyway. Matt and I were talking about that. You could just go in, just if they wouldn't help you at the counter, just go get your quarter.
Handle.
If you went to a bowling alley,
Virginia Slims, and go.
If you went to a bowling alley and they didn't have a cigarette vending machine, that was a bad bowling alley.
Oh, low class. That's low.
I remember walking to the Denny's. You would walk into a Denny's, and the very first thing you'd see at a Denny's is by the cashier is the cigarette vending machine.
You couldn't see at a Denny's.
And also people...
All the smoke.
Realize these are the ones you pull the knobs on.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They're not like push button. You like pull a knob out to that's. I don't know.
You'd have to yank on this really long metal rod, and the cigarette would come out. Cigarettes. Yeah, Denny's was smoky.
And the non-smoking section was always behind the smoking section, which made no sense because you had to walk through the smoking section to get there.
Yeah,
I think that's right. Is that like that on a plane too? Remember airplanes had smoking sections?
We went on trips to London because my dad was from England, and the no smoking sign would hit on, and I don't know how long that flight was. I would count it in packs. I was like, "Oh, he's on pack 3. I think we're about there."
Wow.
And the air recirculates on an airplane. You know that because you can eventually smell what everyone had for breakfast. And at that time, I'm looking back. I'm like, wait a minute. I was sitting in a smoke-filled airplane from Detroit to London. Restaurants, everything. It was. I probably smoked more unwillingly than some people who went out of their way.
At the hockey game in St. Louis, originally, when I was very young, they would smoke in the stands.
Oh my God.
In their seats, watching the game. Then they were told you cannot smoke your cigar, your pipe, or your cigarette in the stands during the game. You have to smoke under the stands, but it can be really anywhere under the stands, anywhere. And so you would go under the stands, and it's just like you would come home smelling like an
You'd reek.
And
bowling alley. I think some of the smokiest places too sometimes would be a place like a bowling alley, besides a bar. Yeah, bowling alley.
I don't know how it is now, but when I was growing up in St. Louis, everybody smoked. I mean, I was just like everybody smoked, and I was not I was introduced to cigarettes when I was 13, and I never really became a smoker per se. I was always one of those guys who I could not stand to be around smoke unless I was smoking. So if I was in a party, a bowling alley, a bar, anywhere around people that were smoking back then, and somebody would bum me a cigarette, I would light it, and I was so casual as a smoker. But I'm lucky. I never really got hooked. I never really bought my own packs of cigarettes. And by age 21, I was like, this is dumb. Why do I smoke? I don't think I will do this anymore.
People
I haven't had a cigarette since I was
how
21.
culturally big it was. There are Flintstones commercials with Fred and Barney, Winston-Salem, and I have the entire Red Green show on DVD. I like old shows, and his sponsor was always a tobacco company, but Red didn't smoke, but he would always have one cigar in his pocket. And I still remember the episode where he goes, and now they're even safer with new asbestos filters. And I was like, oh Lord, nobody ever told me that. So Andy Griffith, I saw, smoking, and it just was like, culturally, it was, I don't even know what you can compare it to, because it's more prevalent than gum chewing than I see.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those things that took the odd cultural shift, because now it is definitely very much looked down upon. But if anybody doesn't believe us, go watch any movie from the 1970s or 1980s. Literally everybody's smoking. Superman, Margot Kidder smoking like a chimney, and that's like one of the plot points of the movie, is that how bad of a smoker she is. Not yet, thankfully.
Before Kojak had the lollipop, Kojak smoked a thin little cigarillo. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And later, Kojak had a lollipop as an effort to promote not smoking.
So that was such, and I don't know.
My sister, let's keep going with cigs for a second. My sister lived in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a city named for not one, but two brands of cigarettes. When I would get bored, I would walk around Winston-Salem at night, ultra safe place compared to St. Louis. At this time in America, no crime, no homeless people, no nothing. I would walk around the old factory, the old Winston cigarette, the Reynolds Corporation Company factory that made all these different cigarettes that you know. And so it was incredible. This is in North Carolina. Also, my grandfather smoked. My grandfather smoked unfiltered cool cigarettes, and he would play golf. And he would light a cigarette, throw it down, hit the ball, go pick up the cigarette, and sometimes in the late 70s or early 80s, he's wearing all polyester clothes, and he would have a cocktail sometimes. He had a little cigarette, full cigarette, and quite often he would burn himself, and he'd burn a hole in his polyester blue bell bottoms.
I can tell you,
this is America.
Where did you go to high school, Matt? I went to Central.
I went to Lindbergh.
Okay, so you probably had this. Did you guys have a smoking lounge for the students? And our high school
Stop it! No way!
I'm not even kidding. We had a student smoking lounge. When I did Grease, we did them with real Lucky Strikes that we lit and smoked in the play on stage at high school. I was 16, 17. I was 17. I played Kaniki.
Okay, well, you're not getting near this.
Lots of 30-year experience,
Not to continue the cigarette thing, you asked me a question, though. When I got to Lindbergh, it was the first year that seniors were not allowed to smoke on campus outside. They couldn't smoke anymore outside. The smoking lounge was outside, and then when I got there, they ended that.
Yep. So our era was the era when the culture started to change, but before that,
big time,
it was a cloud. It was a cloud.
Disney.
I mean, you don't want to end up that guy, and that guy would be referenced. Cigarettes cause all kinds of problems. You lose your voice, and we would see these TV shows, these movies where they'd have a guy like stick a vibrating thing in his neck, and you're like, whoa. Yeah, this is the end result of that stuff. You know, it's like
I'll tell you a true story, and then we got to leave this because I think you're
we should.
demonetized. My little brother worked in a greasy spoon, you know, like a Coney Island. He's serving up eggs, and a guy comes to the counter with one of the holes and starts smoking through it. My little brother walks up to him and says, "Learned your lesson." Gave him a
ouch.
Oh my
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
Did you get fired? He goes, "No, they're laughing too hard to fire me." I was like, okay.
Well, since
it's a different world.
Since Matt was last here, I know I changed my assets a little bit on the show, and I do like to let people know, if you're watching out there, if there is any member support, or I mean, subscriber support, just viewer support, anything like that. So super chat, super things, super stickers, memberships, member chats, any of those types of things. We like to celebrate you all, and I will throw down celebration. I have several of them on the channel, but just to give you a small sampling of what that may look like, here we go. Celebration time, and we're going to rock out a little bit with Matt
Black Widow.
and Stuttering Guitarist. What's that?
I've not seen this yet. I think I know who's responsible for this content. I'd like to thank that person for the Black Widow entry. Good one, Ron. Good one.
Very good.
Let's see. We've got. I remember praying 3 times a day in school, starting the pledge, and then smoking in between classes. Yeah, that sounds about
Absolutely.
right. So, and of course, there were schools I went to in Arkansas where they still had corporal punishment. So
they had McGuffey Raiders with zigzags in the back.
Mm.
Yeah, they had the big board with the holes.
They have hogs with razors on their backs. Razorbacks.
So, guitarist, I'm
Yes.
putting the spotlight on you. What all do you
Nice.
have for us tonight?
Well, I sent you in a video because my live interaction isn't working still after troubleshooting. But what I sent you, and I'll break it down a little bit, is I designed a guitar for Frank Stallone Guitars out in California. Yeah, Frank has a brother named Sylvester who does something in entertainment. I can't remember. But he took.
I like people to speak up for me too. You know, I like that. It's good
I
stuff.
think he's okay. I had started the process pre-shutdown, and to give you an idea of how much I got to see the world change, people bought more guitars during, when they were kind of inside all the time, than at any point in history from one of the major companies. But as I was developing this thing, by the time we were done, the cost of materials had quadrupled or quintupled, because a lot of them were fuel-based, things like wood. We were using American electronics. The pickups are hand-wound in Las Vegas. And we watched.
Explain to people what a pickup is.
Oh, okay.
Jeremy.
So a guitar pickup on an electric guitar, that's the shiny things you see right there. That's how the string vibration gets to the amplifier. A lot of acoustics have them in there. And what people don't know is most pickups are called Alnico, and then there's a number. It stands for aluminum, nickel, and cobalt. And some of those same metals are in batteries. So now there's a bidding war on those metals. So creating materials where there's a bidding war. You guys know how supply and demand works. It's interesting how batteries and cell technology has affected the music industry, because they all want similar things: bandwidth for wireless, metals, the timber industry, etc. So I got to see what I think will be the biggest shift in our time of how guitars are built. Saw about 200 guitar builders go out of business, a lot of stores as well. We didn't realize everyone had been doing things on credit for 30 years, etc. So everyone's trying to turn it into a cash business now. You make it, you pay for it. You make it, you pay for it. Where it had been, okay, order this many, and within 6 months, it's an FOB, 180 days, you get the money back to the vendor. And I got to see all those changes up close. I went through 7 combinations of electronics. I went through like all the wiring and things, everything from hand soldering to pieces now they make that are almost like Legos, snapped together, push pins, etc. I want the user to have a great end experience if they want to be able to swap out a pickup, but ultimately I wanted as close to as much American-made stuff in there as possible, and that it comes at a cost. So
let's recap for the audience real quick.
Yeah,
let's recap for the audience real quick. You design these guitars for a company. They approved the design. They liked the design. They said, Jeremy, since you're the designer, you choose kind of the electronics. You choose the wood that the guitar is made out of. And then we, at our facility, correct me if I'm wrong, we mass produce these guitars. Is that how it goes?
Kind of. So Frank Stallone, what I didn't know is how many platinum and gold records he has. If you go to
so he's a musician. Yeah.
He's toured the world. And Frank is an old school player that says, I know it the second I hold it, if I like it or not. So I would have something made. I'd have a prototype sent to California, and the CEO, I call him GJ, great guy. He would take it over. Frank would take it, look at, okay, I like this, I don't like this. So that's how we ended up with the eventual, this model has neck dimensions based on, they took calipers to Frank's favorite Les Paul that he toured with for probably 30 years. And what happens is your hand wears down the neck in certain ways. So it's a certain thickness of the 12th fret. So we took the dimensions of his favorite neck, got it to a CNC machinist. They're able to put a piece of wood in there and replicate it within, like, if you split a human hair into 6 pieces, that's the engineering tolerances of CNC, of computer machinery for guitars.
So show us the neck again, if you could,
absolutely.
please, Jeremy. So you have this guitar, you Frank Stallone, brother of Sylvester Stallone, famous entertainer.
Yeah.
He's a musician. You ended up being the lead designer for this particular guitar. What you're saying is even though this is a different guitar that kind of resembles a Telecaster, let's just say, Frank played a Les Paul, which a Les Paul is a semi-hollow body guitar. On the neck, he played it so long, it kind of formed to his hand. You were able to measure it. And so when you play this particular guitar, it's like playing Frank's guitar, literally like playing his guitar.
It is. And what I love the most is we only do the neck and body with computer equipment. We use a custom shop in Las Vegas. We found a family of builders, because to do everything under one roof it takes so much money and equipment. But we found a custom shop builder who had built, I won't say his name so it doesn't matter, but he built some basses for Gene Simmons' last tour. He's building guitars for Sammy Hagar and some other people. And he says to me, you know, someone came over from a very famous custom shop and taught us how to make pickups the way they made them in the 50s and 60s. And that's what everybody wants, that sound, because those are the guitars Jimi Hendrix had. Yep, there's Frank with the original. That was the Tiger, and it was an imported Korean guitar. He wanted an American guitar, so I designed this one to look like a GTO that I liked as a kid. I wanted a blue GTO. I knew I'd never have it, but this was one of the factory colors. I always thought of the GTOs in orange, you know, the GTO General, but blue is one of them. And he liked it so much. I called it the Forza, which is Italian for force, for muscle car. He liked it so much, he said, let's make this the flagship. We'll call it the Stallion. So it's actually called the Stallion, which, you know, when Mr. Stallone is willing to put that name on it, that was a huge honor. You can go to Norm's Guitars. That's one of the most famous shops in the U.S. Joe
Now there he is.
Shops there. Yep.
That's a big, fat, semi-hollow body guitar with an F
and that's
hole.
at Norm's Guitars. He played these guitars.
Famous guitar place. Boy, does he look like Sylvester Stallone there, or what? His brother.
Yeah,
who's older?
He does. Sly is by a couple years, and if you go to Rocky 1 and 2, there's a band singing around a garbage can, and it's Frank's band. His brother was able to pay him, you know, the same money to get for gigs. Yeah, so he's in several of the Rockies because he's also a boxer. He still trains as a boxer. I think he's in his 70s now, and he's still working out every morning at 5 a.m. He still does boxing training. He was a fighter, and in Rocky 3, there's a montage of Rocky just going through a bunch of boxers. Well, Frank was one of them, and I got to see a B-reel when it got a little too heated because they're brothers, you know, so they started really going at it, you know.
That's awesome.
They had to pull them apart. I'm like, oh, what a great day of work. You get to punch your brother. You get pulled off them.
Where?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure that people are the ones that are interested. Where can people, if possible, buy one of these guitars that you designed for Frank Stallone?
Go to frankstalloneguitars.com. I mean, it can't be simpler than that. And you'll immediately see a message. The CEO, if you have a question, the guy's name is GJ, the guy who runs everything. And, you know, we have contacts. I'm working on, I think, 3 different designs right now that we've kind of talked through, because this is a high price point. These are built one at a time, hand built, except for the machining part on the wood. But we're trying to build a hybrid, you know, maybe the neck comes from Korea and the body's US, etc. But if you go to frankstalloneguitars.com, the CEO, if you ask him, he'll actually call you, talk through, you know, what's on the website. You can see me on there. If you go to their YouTube channel, I've done a lot of the demo work for them. That was a big honor, sending him my
demos. So you talked to Frank. Frank was very happy about the guitar. What did he tell you? Did you get any feedback from him once it was done?
No, Frank is a mile a minute, which is what creative people had to be to make a living. You know, when Rocky came out in the 70s, even like guys like Billy Joel, who I consider a Stallone for some reason. Billy Joel always hit me as like, you know, another Stallone. He's from Long Island, but anyway,
right.
These guys were paying for grocery money. And Rocky was Sylvester Stallone's last attempt. He was like, this is it. He'd already made 5 or 6 films. He'd made it as a student film. And there was a picture that they put up on his Instagram of him leaning on a guardrail outside the theater, and nobody knew who he was. People were just walking past him. But after
so that's your guitar right there. Go ahead.
That's me.
Jeremy.
Yeah, that's it.
That's your guitar. It comes in different colors. If people want a ballistic blue, copperhead, looks pretty pimp. the Stallion metallic red,
Yeah.
very sexy. Did you pick those colors?
I picked ballistic blue because that's the GTO I wanted. Frank picked red, but then preferred the orange once it was done because of the old Gretsch guitars. You remember those, the cowboy guitars? That orange he just absolutely loves, and it actually gets the most attention of when people talk about the colors. The orange does, but the blue, part of what I got in the end for working on this was one of the very first production models that were shipped out right before Christmas. And that's what I have in here, but I also have 2 working prototypes in the house, and that's what's in the video that I sent you. I just loved it, loved working on it, and I love what I'm doing now.
How long did it take for you to, when you came up with an idea for a guitar and then you actually saw that it was made, how long did that take?
4 years.
4 years.
Oh, wow.
4 years. 4 years. And part
That's
of
a
that
long
was
time.
because shutdown. If you guys remember this, there were weird issues because Chinese New Year happened, and then factories just didn't reopen over there. Well, I'm blogging hockey, and I get a message that teams are running out of hockey sticks because most of them are made in China now, the composite sticks. And so many things, even if it's a part of a pot, like certain types of copper, certain types of wood, are still imported. And the shipping lanes were all closed down. Everything took so long to catch back up. They talked about supply chain and toilet paper, stuff like that. Imagine that. So when we had an approved design, I think I had to wait 18 months to get all the parts in place to really start building and get everything going, because everyone was just out of everything.
You have a website. It's stutteringguitarist.com. Was that it?
Yep. Stutteringguitarist.com. Yep.
About your website, people can contact you there if they're interested about what you do. You have music there. Tell me more about your website.
Yeah. So the website, it features me playing guitars. I put the logo for Strings and Pucks up there. I think, if not, I'm working on it. And my music is on iTunes under my given name, Jeremy Laura. But if you go to my website, stutteringguitarist.com, go to music, I made it so that you can listen to all the songs all the way through before you decide if you want to download them. Go to iTunes, look me up. My favorite right now, there I am. That's my dining room. And it was
Beautiful.
that day too.
Beautiful. So you're playing the guitar that you designed for Frank Sloan. There it is.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's a lot of fun. And so that's Brand New Day. That's actually my favorite single right now. I'm on disability because of a head injury. And what goes with that, and I have been since 2016, that's what causes the stuttering and things. And what goes with that is also depression. And that was really hard. My wife and I just had our 25th anniversary. God bless her for sticking with such a goofy dude. But Brand New Day has been kind of my anthem to say, you know what? I'm not going to look back. I know what I did wrong, or I know what went wrong. Let's take today a day at a time. A lot of my music, I'll give you a heads up, I was a music director at a church. That's actually our engagement photo that I had altered from 1999. We were married in 1999, and that's our engagement photo at a park in Ann Arbor.
Wow.
Nice.
So yeah, I was way.
That's
thinner.
cool.
Oh.
So talk about you're starting. You have stutteringguitarist.com. You're a musician, a guitar designer. You're a hockey blogger. You're interested in hockey. You're an expert about it, and you now have a new YouTube channel called Strings and Pucks. Fascinating. Let's hear more about this YouTube channel.
This is our baby. This is you and me. And what happened is, and Ron, you've been on these panels where you're listening to someone talk and they keep saying things that you're interested in as well, right?
Yeah.
And for Matt,
that's how Matt and I got No connection.
Oh, because it was the same thing. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
I
kinda
had
heard that
said
before.
something about a limited edition run of Star Wars figures that came with the coins. You remember the series, and then we kind of started just DMing, and we were both massive hockey fans and massive guitar fans. Well, Matt toured in a band. I went to college for vocal performance. I was on scholarship at Western Michigan University, transferred to be a church music director, what they called contemporary Christian music, CCM, whatever it was at the time. And for 15 years, I led a worship team part-time and full-time. I was in sales. I was writing at the time. I wrote about 20 of the songs they would do on Sunday. I made recordings. I'm finishing an album that I've been working on for a while. And most of it now I record in my living room. I've found just different corners that have great ambience, and I've paid the studio bills in the past. And I don't think kids realize you buy an iPad or an iPhone, you have an 128 track recorder on there when we couldn't get a 4-track Tascam for $100, growing up. So the things at our disposal that have allowed me to be on disability, days where I can't move at all, and still create. When you can create sitting still, that's when technology is like a miracle. It feels like a great, wonderful thing. Of course, there are plenty of things that it's used to be mean or take money from people's bank accounts and things like that. But when you're able to just lay there, you're in pain, you're having a bad day, but I can edit a video. We have a conversation on Strings and Pucks, and we're talking a lot right now about paid college athletes, because that's going to directly affect the professional leagues. It already has in football. I'm finishing editing part 2 of that series, and part 3 will come out soon. And in hockey, which is my passion, I've written about the Red Wings. If you draft a player and they go to college, you can't sign them. They can't sign their entry-level contract. And if they stay in college for 4 years, you lose the signing rights. So if you want to go all the way to tampering, and we've talked about this, I've seen other teams looking at some of the goalies and players we have in college here in Michigan, and it's not a stretch for them to say, hey, I'll get you as much as they'd pay you in the minor leagues. Just stay in college, play fewer games, get your degree, and then when you come out, you're a free agent. You can go wherever you want, but come here, And
so Strings and Pucks, for everybody out there that's interested in your new YouTube channel that centers around sports, it's strings and an N and then pucks, all one word.
Yep, strings,
okay,
and then that
with
little
N, then pucks,
yeah.
all one word.
Guitars and hockey.
So it's the string aspect, and it's the puck. The logo is a guitar with a little hockey stick.
Yeah, and actually someone in our community made that logo for us, and I was so grateful. The 3 of us know so many creative people by proxy. It's unbelievable. And it's such, I saw Ruby Hooves' name earlier, and it's like, I watch Culture Casino's news in the morning, right? And Ron, I think I've seen your name on there. I see these names scrolling up. I'm like, wow, we all watch the same thing.
Let's see, how many subscribers on YouTube does it take to go live? Is it 100 still?
300. 300.
Okay.
Now. Is that
Here's
right?
what we need from everyone out there.
To do what?
Live.
To go live.
To go live. No, you only need 50. You only need 50 to go live. However,
guys,
there's also a workaround to go live. If you use StreamYard, or if you use any other workaround, what's the other one on my Prism streaming?
We want to be legit.
Use a workaround like that. You go through one of those.
Yeah, we definitely and you don't get monetized I think till 300, and that's
it's 300
on
monetization.
Yep, and then monetization through ads I think is
500. Is that right, Ron? I mean, it's up there.
It's
Anyway.
500 subscribers. It's 1,000 for ad monetization, but the biggest thing is the hours. You need 4,000 watched hours on long form content. Now, I will tell you, my wife is doing really well with her live streams because she's doing her live streams vertical, and YouTube is really pushing vertical live streams right now because guess what is shutting down that a lot of people do vertical live streams on
TikTok?
and maybe shutting down this Sunday. So
I had a joke about vertical live streams, but I want to keep this monetized. So I see that Strings and Pucks is Jeremy's channel. I am a co-host. This is our channel. Please subscribe. As we were saying, that's 23 subscribers. We're 27 away from being able to go live without any monkey business, being legit about it. We want to be legit about it. And this is a channel for guitar fun and in-depth sports. Jeremy is an expert NHL blogger. I'm a former NCAA player and coach. And now we get way into the weeds about how lately our topic is how they're taking, in many cases, your tax dollars are motivating giant universities to pay college athletes as if they were professional athletes. And now if your favorite team in college, hockey, football, they have to pay the athletes that play. They have to pay them like professionals. And those kids at age 19 can leave and go to any school at the end of the season. And so it's madness. It's chaos. Money has upended and disrupted college sports in ways that were never predicted. Things happen weekly. It's like a giant car crash, a giant train wreck. We're following those car crashes and train wrecks. Jeremy is keeping an eye on the hockey side of it. I'm doing the football. College football season is almost over. This Monday night, Ohio State plays Notre Dame.
Okay. Yeah, if you look at the name, image, likeness video, it literally says the end of NCAA sports. I'm almost done with part 2. The reason it's so long is I'm putting the receipts in. We quote articles and we quote things people say, but I don't want to be one of those personalities that says, oh, I heard someone got $4 million to go to Miami. Well, no, the guy got $3.4 million to go to Miami, and you had all the receipts, Matt.
Yeah.
So I've been posting those as side by side so that they pop up when we mention them, because I really want people to feel like they're getting information that's public knowledge and not just speculation.
Jeremy has insights. And go ahead. I just want to say, Jeremy interviews college coaches. So if you go to Strings and Pucks and you look at some of these videos, he has head coaches that will sit down and face-to-face Jeremy for quality time and answers questions. And when we go live in the future with enough subs, we'll need moderators and wrenches too, and we'll have Ron on the show, and Ron can talk Blues hockey if he wants. Do you ever watch hockey down in Florida, Ron, on TV? Do you ever see?
Oh gosh, we have. I've actually wanted to go to a live because, we've got the Lightning. Tampa Bay Lightning is fairly a good team, but I haven't gone over to see it yet.
You have the Florida Panthers still. Don't you have you have 2 hockey teams in Florida?
Yeah, and Red Wings are playing them both. Those are our next 2 games, I think. Or no, we're playing one team, and then we're playing Florida, then we're playing Tampa Bay. Those 2 teams in Florida have 3 of the last 5 Stanley Cups. To me, that's unbelievable. Crazy. The amount of talent that's down there. Yeah, Ron, you should go. You should absolutely go.
I mean, I definitely want to, but I'm seeing some internet stuff on my end.
Yes,
and
I see it.
I don't want anything to happen, so I'm going to add this to the stage. Because I want to make sure
pickups made where you can
hold on a second. I'm gonna rewind it to the beginning.
So there's
And
the
if you want to
prototype.
introduce this clip, go ahead and introduce the clip, Jeremy.
Okay, so what I'm holding, and you'll see that it's actually a cross cutout, is one of 4 working prototypes. 2 are here in my house, and 2 are in California. One with the CEO and one with Mr. Stallone. And this one is my favorite because if I ever do church music again, this is the one I'm going to use. And I talk about things that are on this guitar that aren't on any other body I ever put together. So it was a lot of fun for me to design.
All right. Should I go ahead and play the clip?
Go for it.
Queued up? Okay, let's go. Is it playing? Is it playing? I see the little blue line moving.
Yeah, I didn't realize my face was that weird.
No. I'm just wondering why the line is moving, but it doesn't seem to be. Make sure that it's.
Looks like
If it doesn't play from here, I've actually got to back up
before the show.
Oh, there you go. There you
This
go.
is one of the first 4 prototypes that led to the Stuttering guitar that you see on FrankStalloneGuitars.com. That's the final approved version. This version, and I wanted to use it for your show because it's something a little special. I had wide range pickups made where you can see there aren't as many pole pieces, so they sound a little more like single coils. I'm going to give you some clean sounds. You hear there's just a little dirt on my clean all the time. I just like the old blues guys. And then for the middle position, I wanted that same type of sound but a little thinner. This is a miniature version of the pickup. And then you've got the John Mayer or Mark Knopfler position. And then, of course, the bridge humbucker. But what a lot of guitarists like is the 2 humbucker sound. So this magic knob, which is the same on the production model, the bottom knob, allows you to dial in just the neck pickup. So now instead of just having the humbucker, you get that in-between sound. And if those are the only 2 sounds you want, you can just use that instead of the switch. And when you've got it on, if you go back to that second position, it's all 3 pickups at once. And in this case, it's a little bit of a snappier sound. This is a mahogany body. I had the cross done as a custom cut. I used to be a worship director at a church. Just wanted to see how that would work out. And it's just a clear gloss finish. Actually clear satin finish on here. So I'm going to give you some sounds, but this is one of my favorite prototypes. I have one more that I'll show one day, but this was in the final stages. There were 7 prototypes in all, and 4 survived. So here's a little dirt. also back here. And for the neck blues people. And then finally for the bridge. And that mixed sound. Prototype of what became the Frank Stallone Guitarist Stallion. Still available at frankstalloneguitars.com.
That was awesome.
Thanks, guys.
That was great.
I am very proud of that. I'm trying not to smile. If
this was the 90s and the alternative rock power ballad was still in vogue, Gavin Rossdale of Bush would be banging down your door for one of those because everything is on board. Now, you were cycling, just real quick to wrap up this guitar, you did the in detail demonstration of the guitar that you designed for Frank Stallone, who's a musician, brother of Sylvester, and then everything that you went through usually is not inboard so much in the guitar. It's effect pedals and all this, but this is really just intuitive. It's analog. It's not, really doesn't have to do with effects. It is the guitar. Fascinating. I don't think I've really seen a demonstration or a guitar like that. It seems so intuitive and common sense. I don't know why we haven't seen a guitar like this until now. And then where can they go to get this again, Jeremy?
And at frankstalloneguitars.com. And the big thing for me was with that blending switch, I was on stage doing church music. And just to step back for a second, this is the one, I'll call it a gig, but it's the one opportunity where you kind of want people to ignore you. If you're constantly stomping on things and it's not about doing a big solo. It's about, this is a personal thing for people when they go to church, And I took everything that I loved, which was the old pine body Telecasters, because they were light and they were simple, but I still needed that bigger sound sometimes. And the more I could do just on the instrument, without having to draw attention to anything, it just felt, it's so much easier and so much more fun. I intentionally used the same humbuckers that Les Paul helped design with Seth Lover. Those are guys, they sound like rock and roll names. If you look at them, they are nerds, guys with glasses and like me who were military radio operators. And they were like, kids like this, they want this new electric sound. Let's just take all the radio parts we had in the military and build them stuff. And they invented amps, and almost every guitar model you see is based on something made in the 1950s. All the Strats, the Les Pauls, even the Flying B was 1958. So, I mean, I went back to who I call the tone people, because they didn't have all the crazy effects. They had to just be good. And I'm not on their level of playing, but I want me to sound like me, and I want to give each player that experience. Find out what you really sound like so you can really know what you need to tweak.
Man, I think the audience got a treat tonight, Ron. I want one of these guitars. Operators are standing by.
There is an operator standing by for sure.
So. Yeah, and I'll be honest. So when I rework the description, I'll put all the links in the description, and I'm going to rework the thumbnail a little bit. It'll probably get a lot more hits on the replay, which is fine. This will still be out there for people to see, and it'll be very, very cool. I really appreciate you coming on to share that with us, because that was unique clip. People, you can only see that here right now. That's
so.
That's
The only
amazing
channel I've
thing.
played the cross guitar on.
That's awesome.
I purposely didn't show anyone pictures of it because if I wanted to do it one day, but after talking to the owner, I said, I think I'm ready to at least play it. And it still doesn't even have a logo on it. It's a blank headstock. It's cool. It's gritty. It's organic, and it's neat because I know how many hours I've got on there. I can see my thumbprints on parts of it. So, it's pretty cool.
Very, very cool. I want to thank both of my guests for coming in today. I did see we've got Ruby Hoove did drop a gifted membership. So definitely want to thank you for that. And we got a mini celebration.
Is it too much? Too much. It's the birthday.
Hey, this is just the best of us. After tonight, I'm gonna have to go back and put some Wayne and Garth will go into my celebration. Because the whole time I'm thinking, gosh, let's take me back to the old movie, and I'm like, that they really want to pick up one of those guitars and give it a try, man. Not the Les Paul.
I almost want to do the theme song, but I don't know that I can. So
I heard Aerosmith do it once. When SNL was so crazy, you would have Wayne's World, and then Chris Farley would be Matt Foley jumping through a coffee table.
Those are the days.
Oh, beautiful time.
Just pretend this is cable access. This is the cable access of the future. So we are
basically, yes. It's exactly what it's cable access, and it works out great. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate the
thank you, Jeremy.
wrenching, and I appreciate
another Jeremy
comments. I said this is Jeremy Heath, who's also a St. Louisan. He's there in your general vicinity, Mr. Matt.
This is a Ted Drew's t-shirt.
Nice.
I got this at Ted Drew's. Yeah, it says Missouri, US 66. It's got the map of Missouri in the back.
Oh my gosh. I just want to have a beignet. That's all I want.
Well, that's a little farther south.
My first professional performing gig was at Six Flags there. I was in the Palace show in 1992. So
those are hard gigs.
I come from the singing and dancing and acting world, and it was always difficult for me because, I'm straight. So there's that.
Well, it was difficult, except at college where they're like, wait, you're straight? There's like...
Well, that's what I mean. I went into it because I needed less competition when it came to the women. So
it thinned the herd. It did thin the herd pretty good. You were punching way above. I was punching way above my weight class. At choir camp and things, It's like, wow, I'm cool here. I don't want to leave.
We might have to do some more musical stuff here together in the future.
Absolutely.
But for now, we got to get going. Matt, where can people find you? What are you doing? What are you up to these days? I know the tourist thing.
I'm just you can find me at Missouri Ozark Wilderness Guide on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. I take people hiking into the Ozarks of Missouri. I show them around. We have a great time. We see rivers and caves and rock formations. And I am with Jeremy Stuttering Guitarist. We have a new YouTube channel called Strings NN Pucks, all one word. Strings as strings and pucks like a hockey puck, plural. I'll go to that YouTube page, subscribe, and the college football playoffs will be played on Monday night, and we will be talking about aspects of that on our channel and hockey and NHL stuff. And you can find me here and in a state park near you.
And then the state park. Yeah, they're getting ready to destroy the Missouri Ozarks portion of Magic Kingdom and Frontierland, which is the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island. I'm super sad about that. I still hope, I'm kind of holding out hope that maybe it doesn't happen because there's a lot of backlash against it. Some of the people that love Disney the most and are really the pixie dust type people, they don't want that to go away. And it's fun because when you go to Tom Sawyer's Island, it's like going back to Missouri because they have the caves in there. They're fake, but they do a really good job of replicating them. And so you can go across Tom Sawyer's Island and you can go all through those caves, and they are literally designed to look as much as they can like Missouri caves while you're in Florida, which is kind of surreal. So,
that's a treasure.
Walt Disney,
that's a treasure.
Walt Disney grew up in Missouri, so
yeah. There's a lot of they're trying to erase Walt, so it's not my thing. Stuttering Guitarist, I know that you've already just replug everything. Everything. Where can people find you?
StutteringGuitarist.com is my personal website. You can get a hold of me through their contact. I blog at a blog called Hockey Buzz, hockeybuzz.com. You'll see the Red Wings logo. I'm the Detroit Red Wings blogger. I have been since 2019. Strings and Pucks, YouTube. Frank Stallone Guitars. And on iTunes, under my regular name, Jeremy Laura, you'll see that. And CD Baby put up screens of all my music that I've published through them. Just look up either Stuttering Guitarist or Jeremy Laura on YouTube, and you'll see music videos and demos and things. So I'm kind of a little bit everywhere.
Very, very cool. And are you the one that did the new Superman movie guitar intro? Have you seen that? With the new Superman Legacy movie that they're coming out, they did the Christopher Reeve theme, but it's all on electric guitar.
And see, that's like doing Star Wars on guitar for me. And it's no offense because I love guitar, right? But I don't want to see John Williams done in all guitars. I think I'd throw things. So there's a reason those trumpets.
The movie so cool. The movie theme that works for the guitar is the one designed for the guitar, and that is Top Gun.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And yeah. And
now wait a minute, guys. Hold on. The Mandalorian is written for guitar.
Is it really?
So I'm going to throw in the Mandalorian.
Yes. But technically, that's
I wish I could play it right now.
For now.
It's a pretty good riff. If you play guitar, try to learn the Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely like that song. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Thank you, audience. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jeremy, for wrenching. We appreciate that. Tom F., I saw you in the chat as well. Thank you so much. And we will be back tomorrow on the Daily Dish at 9:30 a.m. So I will see you all then. And until then, bye-bye, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you real soon.